way too much for this.
Getting ready to start.
And then maybe a couple of extra stragglers that are coming in. We can get on with this.
Oh, give me one of them. I'll take one of them. Let's take one of those.
That wasn't me.
It's Quartzsite.
I think it's the family who's offering that.
I guess we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to thank town administrators for allowing us to use the facilities for this public awareness and notification meeting. And I would definitely like to thank everybody that's in attendance to this. Quartzsite Police Department wants to express our concerns and give you an insight as to what is happening with this case. Please understand we may not divulge everything in this matter because realistically, it's a missing person case. It's not quite a criminal matter, but we still have to handle this like a criminal matter. And there's not very much we can give. So I wanted to get that point straight across right away. Currently, we are limited on our leads. We're limited on the leads of who Eric may have left if he left alone or anything from there. Based off our investigation, looking at it, he may have went with somebody. I mean, he could have just left town. We get reports of people missing from the police department all the time, and it just comes back at either in the hospital or they just left town. Yes, Mr. Stapleton has been gone for a little over 2 weeks now, and it's a little bit kind of odd. However, people just sometimes just up and leave, and we need to keep an open mind on that as well. With that, our investigation has taken us to see how many people he's socialized with, who he's talked to, where he's been, and that's what we're looking at that from the basis. Without that, we have nothing. Realistically, we have nothing. We'll get to questions and whatnot at the end. Okay, we'll get to everything at the end. Right now, we've currently interviewed a few people. It's not like we're not doing anything. We have interviewed a few folks. We're following up on those leads daily. Remind you, the police department is very limited on staffing. Myself and Officer Conley are the main ones working on this, as well as the other officers. Whenever they get information and leads, they pass it on to us. We follow up on it. So it's not like we're not working on it. We're just very limited on staffing. But we're definitely talking to each other daily. Even on my days off, I converse with Officer Conley. Officer Conley converses with me. We're constantly sharing information, bouncing ideas off each other. So it's a good thing. Without that communication, we will have failed, not only the police department, but we'll fail Mr. Stapleton in trying to find his whereabouts. Currently, right now, we are working with La Paz County Attorney's Office for any legal matters we may have, for advice, information that we may need. So we are informing everybody that we can. It's not like we're keeping a secret to the town of Quartzsite only. We are spreading this. We're going to our authorities that we need to go notify of where we're at with the investigation. They are here. They're just here in support of us. It's just a case for my legal advice if I need that. Let's see where we're at. Can I say we have evidence? Yes, we do have evidence. Can I say it's going to help us? I don't know. Right now, we're handling a missing persons case. We're not handling a criminal case. We have no evidence whatsoever stating that this is a criminal matter. Now, some of you may hear the words kidnapping, some may hear the words murder. You have to understand sometimes we have to use these phrases legally in order to get certain orders in place and whatnot, but we are handling a missing persons case. We're handling it like a criminal matter, so we don't ever miss any evidence that is out there, that we are within our legal rights and within the law to obtain any evidence that we find, that we deemed as evidence. We may grab something that you may not think is evidence. We have it. You may think something else might be really important to the case, but we've already reviewed everything that we could to decide whether or not it is evidence or not. We have to wade through that. I know the community wants to start search parties. I cannot prevent that. I know I had asked to hold off in the recent search. You have to understand that we have no information right now to if Eric is out there in the desert. And I sure want to make sure that it is well coordinated for those of you who decide to go out there and search. Get plenty of water, and that the police department has been notified. The main reason is for your safety. You don't need to go looking for a second person because of the fact that they went out looking for Mr. Stapleton. Without coordinating that with the police department, we both fail as a community. Secondly, with that coordination, we can give you advice, what to look for, when you find something that is suspicious, and how to approach it. But by going out there and just driving on ATVs, running around, you will destroy valuable evidence if there's evidence out there. I've coordinated massive searches before. It's nothing new to something that I have done. So I want to express, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm just asking you to just be cautious on how you conduct your searches. And I appreciate every one of you that are coordinating that. Trust me, the family appreciates it. I couldn't be more happier that the community is coming together to look for Mr. Stapleton and thinking that he's in the desert lost. You also have to keep in mind, if you are out there searching, you may come across human remains, or what you may think is human remains. Then you need to have to understand how to approach this. Now, we're not saying that it's Mr. Stapleton's remains. You could come across somebody that's never been reported missing. You could come across ancient bones. I've found 3,000-year-old bones before.
That's cool.
But we still have to approach it as if it was a crime scene. And with being out there, we have to be careful we won't get trampled on anything. This place is very unique. During the winter, you all know, since you are permanent residents, we have hundreds of thousands of visitors come to the area. We have thousands of people that actually spend the night in these areas. So you're going to see a lot of markings, pile of rocks, items out there that may you feel look like it could be drag marks, it could be a buried body. Notifying us of that information, it will give us a moment to actually meet with those people, talk with them, get that information, and go out there and look, make a determination from that. Quartzsite Police Department has experience in it. Please entrust in us. We do have experience. If it is a buried body, I know how to recover a buried body. It's not that hard to teach my fellow officers that. They have experience being here. These officers worked out here quite a long time, so I'm hoping you guys have that trust in us. We are preaching to reach out. I have connections with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI. So I can put those reaches out to there if we need that sort of resource. I don't want to burn all our resources just yet, because if this does turn into a criminal matter, we will move forward with that procedure. We will get with the county attorney. I'll put the reach out. I've already put a phone call into the FBI and asked for some additional people out here to at least question some folks. It's not going to hurt them to come out here. We all pay our taxes. We all would like to see that happen. Media, I know and heard have expressed about the media. At the time, we may have not notified media to respect that people may have like to have seen that right away. However, once the time came, we felt the need to hurry up and try to get that out there. And again, it was a hurry to start soliciting. Yeah, there might have been a couple of typos and whatnot, but it's nothing to try to prevent this. We're trying to move forward, and we're trying to move it systematically and legally, so that way we get enough information to find Mr. Stapleton. We may not ever find him. And my goal is here is to solicit this information, express to you what we're trying to do, and hopefully get an understanding where the Quartzsite Police Department's coming from. Again, the department's abilities, we are capable of handling this. Again, we're working and consulting with the county attorney's office, believe it or not, almost daily. I do call up there quite a bit. Officer Conley has years of experience, not only here, but with other agencies. And that goes the same for me. I know, and everybody else that's inside this room with the officers, they have experience. I myself, just to give you a little insight, I've managed a full criminal investigations division. I've investigated numerous murders, more than La Paz County will ever see, hopefully, in the county's lifetime. I've done it in a matter of a year, more than the county's homicides had in a year, 10 years. So we're capable of doing this. It's just a slow process. I know watching the Discovery Channel, you see a lot of these criminal investigative matters, it seems like this stuff comes back. How evidence works is if I was to get DNA today, it's going to take 6 months to a year to get that item back. Even if I send it to the FBI office, which I guarantee you working with the FBI, it will take a year and a half. So when you see these shows, such as CSI Miami, it doesn't happen overnight. I can't just point a laser and find evidence. This stuff is very expensive. We do have to call in certain, even the city of Phoenix runs into the same problem. I've worked with them on cases, kidnapping cases, so it does take a little bit of time. Please understand, again, this is not a criminal investigation. We're handling it that way in the event if something does come up. This is Mr. Eric Stapleton that has been missing for about 2 weeks. Do we have our speculations? Absolutely. Do we have our feelings? There's 100%. We all feel differently. I may feel differently than Officer Conley, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to bounce those ideas off everybody. So media, they sometimes can hurt us too. I know I've listened and heard the media has made a comment. Families finally notifying the police department of, no, it's not. That's not what happened. And that's not what they were told. They're given limited information. The media does is makes it sexy so they can put it out there and get ratings. That's all they're worried about. They can hurt this matter more than they can help us. Yes, do we want to use them? Absolutely, but unfortunately, Quartzsite has to rely on our local papers, word of mouth, because the city of Phoenix is not going to come out here and advertise a Quartzsite resident missing. It's tough. I know you guys see the present flyer. That is something that we just combined with what the family had and us. $500 may not seem like a lot, but that's something that the family put together. Not the police department, the family. When it comes to rewards, County Quartzsite's limited on those resources. Even in the large agency that I work for, I couldn't even put up $500. You have to be part of a special organization such as Silent Witness, and you have to staff somebody there full time in order to tap into their monies and funding. Now I can ask them, and they probably will give it to me. But at this time, the family felt they would like to see $500 for any information leading to this. The scary thing is I was kind of hesitant on that because of the fact I didn't want people to believe that we're investigating a crime. But they're offering up $500 of their own money. Now, will the town come up with some money? That's between us and administrators to see if we have the funding available. We'll have to discuss with the county attorney who is in the best interest as far as this investigation goes. I do stay in contact with the family daily. I wish I would have had contact with certain individuals of the family, but I do stay in contact with at least 1 or 2 members daily and give them as much information as I can. Again, I want to take your time and give you this limited information. I understand the Quartzsite Police Department is never maybe giving out information. Whether or not that happens or not, I am here to try to solicit as much information. What I'm looking at is, if you saw Eric Stapleton the day before his missing date, the day of him missing, and the possibility the day after. I mean, we don't know exactly when he truly went missing. His park managers have been very fortunate in helping us and giving us as much information as they can. But even then, you know, they have their own life. They live, they come and go, and you know, their job is not to watch every resident every minute of the day. So that's where us as a community can come together and just take a step back and think, okay, was Mr. Stapleton at work the day prior? Oh yeah, he was, and I saw him here. Was he at the local red box? Everybody knows when everybody's renting a movie. I mean, it's right there in front of the review. I know when half everybody's renting a movie in the middle of the night. I mean, but stuff like that, taking note of that, helps us. I don't know if we're going to find Eric Stapleton alive. I can't tell you that right now. What I can tell you is we are currently investigating it. We're doing it the best way we can, and we have to do it within the law. If we don't, and if this becomes a criminal matter, then we could lose precious evidence if we don't do that. Other than that, I will open up the questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I know you were gonna ask about the vehicle. We have this vehicle. We have impounded that vehicle. Now, in order for me to look in that vehicle, I have to go through a legal process and to getting that done. So we do have it. I mean, so it's not like we're stopping right there. There's little things that we are doing. You may not see it, we may not advertise it, but we are looking at every little ounce of little things. My biggest thing with me is try to get in the head of Eric Stapleton. What was he like? What type of person he was like? What did he do on his days off? So I could figure out where he went, what he does, and move forward from there. Without that, as you folks know, some folks just stay to themselves. They're not very friendly. It sounds like Mr. Stapleton may have been one of those people just like keeping to himself. He has a limited circle of friends. But he still is a town resident. He's still a member of this community, and I know you all are concerned for those residents of this community, and we are too. So if you have any questions, I'll do my best. Before I need to stop, do you have anything?
I'm Karen Hobbs, I'm Chief Deputy County Attorney. I would commend the Quartzsite Police Department. They have kept in touch with our office. They've asked us for assistance in various parts of the investigation of the legal matters. The officers, especially Officer Conley and Officer Nakil, have done a good job of keeping our people informed of the investigation as it goes on. There's one thing I heard today that I didn't know. I didn't know Officer Nakil ever took a day off. I've always been able to reach him anytime. So I would urge all of you to take the officer's advice. If you know anything, if you see anything, if you can hear anything, by all means send that information to the police department so that they can work with it. I think Quartzsite PD is showing the two things that, maybe three things that we need to get this done. We've got professional officers, they know what they're doing. They're putting in the time and effort that it takes. If the evidence is out there, they'll find it. If the question can be answered, they'll answer it. What happened to Mr. Stapleton? And they're also concerned. I know that because of conversations I've had with them. So if that's enough to find Mr. Stapleton, they'll find him.
Any questions?
That's something I'd like to say about anybody going out on ATVs and searching. You know, I'm sure people around here are well versed with ATVs and such, but this, you know, this is a dangerous place in the wintertime and doubly dangerous in the summertime. And I would suggest that anybody goes out with more than one machine, plenty of water, like you said, and keep in touch, because you know out there it's brutal this time of year. You get out there and things can happen and you can't get back. So you know, be real careful. Like you said, you don't want to be looking for somebody else.
Absolutely. If you are going to use ATVs, please stay on the trails. If you see something, get off and walk. Know where you walked and walk back in the same direction you went in. If you start wandering around, then you're going to disturb what may be out there.
Well, why would he leave his car?
Ma'am, I don't know. I don't know. That's a question that we are asking. We are asking a lot of each other this constantly. It's his park managers that brought this attention to us. They're very concerned. I mean, this is their tenant and their friend. We constantly talk and ask each other stuff. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Yes, ma'am.
The constant rumors that are going on that he is just one of many that have disappeared in Quartzsite and that the town is covering it up. That, you know, we were told that at one of the stores.
Right.
You know, that is just so ridiculous, and I think those kinds of stories that keep going, that keep being passed around, are doing nothing but harm what you all are trying to do.
And that's one of the reasons why I decided, well, I shouldn't say we. There is never no I, because I can't do this by myself. We decided to have this meeting to hopefully kibosh some of these rumors. Because I've heard them. The family constantly asks me questions when they hear a rumor. I mean, but this is just a unique situation that we have.
So at this point, you haven't ruled out that he walked away or went with somebody else?
That is
Neither
correct.
one has been ruled out?
Nothing's been ruled out. Right now, the evidence shows a little, very little. He was seen alive when he left. Very happy. He's a very hard worker, I do know that. I cannot get enough information on how well he worked. On time, which in meaning on time is 15 minutes early. So it's just, it's not normal for him to walk off, and that's what we're worried about.
And not show up for his work.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is he on any regular medications where you would maybe be able to check and see if his prescriptions have been filled?
We've already looked into that. I can say that he has a disability, he has a back issues, and it hurts him from time to time. It does cause him problems at work, so he's not gonna walk off too far. Has he walked far? Absolutely. I've been told that he started an exercise regimen for a while there. So it doesn't mean he couldn't have. That's why I said I'm not gonna totally rule that out. But you also have to understand, he's really tore up his back pretty something fierce, and it's caused some problems when he walks. So, but he still will do it just to stay, you know, semi-healthy like we all do a little bit of walking. Bad thing about it is we're at 115 degrees daily for the past week. When he went missing, we're getting up there. It was already warm. That's what we're worried about. Did he walk off and get disoriented? We're also worried about the fact that if he did get taken unwillingly. But we have to look at it both ways. We gotta keep us as a police department have to keep very open-minded. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Does the information get shared with other police departments and sheriff departments in other cities like Blythe and Yuma, Phoenix? Do they get a flyer or a group thing in case they find, you know?
We put his information out in an attempt to locate a certain individual as a missing person. It gets put into a national database system, so it gets informed nationwide. How that works, the reason why we do this is, best way I can describe this, if he ends up missing, say he ended up going into New Mexico and died, and have a John Doe. Normally what ends up happening, common practice is you pick up and you ask certain key factors, height, weight, hair color, and then the computer prints out all the missing persons listed like that. And then you start looking who's missing and making those phone calls. So yes, it does get into it. Do we personally call them? I have personally called some surrounding agencies for their assistance and asked them to keep an eye out and that this gentleman is missing. Sir, you have a question?
There has to be a possibility that the wrong person was grabbed, if he was grabbed, or...
You know, we don't rule out the fact that he could have walked off and been grabbed. Right now, the evidence we have, we just don't know. Okay? We have looked into his house, I can tell you that. I still control his house. But he's still a citizen, he has still legal rights to his own property, so that's why I have to be careful on how I approach his residence, any of his property, because he's still a citizen of this country, and I have to make sure I, don't disturb his rights. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Now, I think it's hard for a lot of people in Quartzsite. I'm new here for the summer, and I think it's hard for them to believe. They can't understand why you can't give them information that you have, but there's information that sometimes you have, you can't give anybody because you don't know, you're following up on information and stuff.
Correct.
So
There's certain information I won't even give to the family. And they tell you right now, I get an earful daily about it. And it's just because if I say something, my biggest fear is the family may slip, and then it's out in public. Now I'm running into a problem.
Can I address
Yes.
that just briefly? I've also advised the officer not to give information relating to the details of the case. We need to realize if there's information out there that if there is a crime involved, there's information that only a criminal would know. If the officer shares that information with the public, it could confuse the investigation and cause needless work. Also, if there's an investigation that's ongoing, officers have to be very careful about what they share because this man, as you say, has constitutional rights. He has a right to privacy. So the officer, my advice to him is to ask you for information, but I would ask you to understand that he cannot give you all of the information that he has.
Anything else? Again, I appreciate everything that you guys and the concern that you have. Without you, some of these leads we wouldn't have been able to follow up on. Without your brainstorming on the side, believe it or not, it will help us. You may have thought something we may. We're only human. We only can take our experiences and education so far. I could have a doctor's degree and still not be able to solve this case. So it's just a matter of, will we solve this? I don't know. Can we solve this? Absolutely. Any case is solvable. Is this a cold case? Absolutely not. I am not turning my back on this yet. My eyes are red. I'm tired because I think about this case constantly. I do not like knowing that this man could be out there. I have a duty to answer and answer these questions not only to the public but to his family. The department looks at it this way. This is somebody's brother, sister, uncle, what have you. We have to give an answer to the family. I may not give an answer. I may never find out 20 years from now. But if I put forth that effort, if Officer Conley puts forth that effort, then we'll walk away knowing that we've done everything we can to try to help this family in finding their relative. I don't care if the family has not visited this man or have not. I don't care. This is somebody within this community that's missing that we got to find. And I'm hoping and still praying that we find him alive. Somebody calls me and says he's in wherever, California, been in a coma, in a car accident. Never know, it could be in Yuma. He could be in La Paz, you know, and we don't know.
Oh, he is, you let me know, I'm gonna kick his butt.
But the park manager's been very helpful to us. They're very concerned. Probably more like family than they are managers and friends. But I can say that. And for the rest of you, for even coming forward during this time when it first started, again, thank you. I've talked to a lot of folks, and it's helped. I just can't give out too much. I wish I could. I wish I could answer all the questions you may have. We're not covering this up. It's not a conspiracy theory on this man could have do anything. We just don't know. This man had possibly walked off or he went with somebody. Yes, sir.
Does any of the agencies, BLM, you folks or whatever, done any searching in the desert close or not?
Not in a coordinated effort.
Okay.
The main reason is we don't have any evidence to tell us a particular area. Officer Conley and I have, on our own, at their shift, has gone out to certain particular areas. I almost made it to Yuma to look in the desert, just in case. I don't know. But no, not as yet. Will we eventually put out a reach to La Paz County to search and rescue? Absolutely. Once we start getting a little bit more information, we'll wait for information to come back to us. Let's just put it that way. Once we get that, then we'll move forward. Yes, sir.
Did they do an air search right away?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes, they did. And unfortunately, we used a medical helicopter, so it's limited on what they can. They have to just by sight. If I call DPS Ranger, I guarantee you it's going to be limited because they're more of a medical assistance than they are of anything else. I've used them in the past. We've already ventured the idea of using Border Patrol, but I think we'll probably disturb more because they used a big old Black Hawk. That causes more noise and kicks up more dirt even as high as they fly than anything else. Could I use another helicopter service out of the valley or out of California? Absolutely, but you have to understand it costs money. It would heat our budget up. So it does not mean we cannot reach out to the federal government. There's ways of reaching out to the federal government and needing us to search and rescue, getting a certain federal number and getting everything paid for by the federal government. But that is a lot of hoops to jump through. Done it before. It's not fun. Ma'am, you have a question?
Yeah, it's not a very pleasant thought, but I saw on the news last night they found a truck outside of Phoenix. It was out in the field or something, and it was burned, and they found 3 bodies in the back of it.
Right.
Did you hear anything about that? Or?
Yes, I did, and to be honest with you, I came from the Phoenix area, so I couldn't I burn a lot of favors. I call. Even if I didn't, I would call. Quartzsite Police Department, also constantly calling somebody, looking and researching on the internet when we hear something. So that one's more, to be honest with you, from my gathering, it might be along with the cartel, illegal immigrant base type stuff. But doesn't mean that they're not going to look into our missing persons and look at the size, height, weight. There's ways of finding information even though the body's been burned.
Just in case anyone was wondering, there was 2 bodies that were found in the Blythe area. We did contact them. They were identified. They were not Mr. Stapleton. I know that I've been approached several times about that.
Blythe Police Department does know. They do know. Everybody locally close to us knows. And if they don't know, then we're open book. You come ask us.
Social media has reached out quite a bit too. So.
Absolutely. And we're limited on what we could do with social media. You know, all I did, I know some of you see me on there, but that's just because I sit there and monitor a lot of it. But I do appreciate Ms. Mills for putting forth the effort of doing this. I understand it, and thank you, because it has opened up a lot of avenues for us to take a look at it too. Yeah. Anything else?
Was this a disappearance in the morning, afternoon, or evening?
We don't know. He was last seen in the morning-ish.
Okay.
So could we say he was even disappeared that day?
Oh.
He could have been that night or the following day, technically.
But it was on the 18th
It's
then?
when he was last seen alive.
Okay.
So we don't know. That's how bad it is. That's how broad this can be. That's how broad a missing person case can be.
Wow.
Especially one that of this nature, because the gentleman really kept to himself. We know who his friends are. We know who he talked to. We even know who he drank with. So, but going beyond that is what we're pushing for.
What exercise? Somebody say he started an exercise program?
He walks off and on, not very far, because he has basically around.
See, I'm out there watering, and when he walks by, I see, that's the only way I know him, is he walks by. Once
Right.
in a while we'll talk, once in a while we won't.
Right.
Mostly I don't want to talk to him because he's so
Right.
You know,
See, that's how it
and I
is.
know he's
Sometimes we see folks, and sometimes we just,
But I don't
based
know
off
what
our
the,
presence, we may not talk to him.
how far did he walk?
I don't know, sir.
Around the
He's
block.
not a very quiet about a walk.
Yeah, he used to walk around that block.
Where the highway patrol?
No, around, yeah.
Around
the
Al's
park,
RV
yeah.
He would walk
Yeah.
around that area. Yeah. Would he venture out any further? He's not a rock collector. He's not going to go out and hunt the rock. It's just not him. He worked at Family Dollar. We all know that. We've seen him there. I've seen him there. The moment this came out, I said, hey, I know that guy. And that's what I'm hoping, that when you go back out into the community, that you ask those questions too. Hey, do you remember that guy from Family Dollar? Oh yeah, I saw him. You know, Miss Jones has given me information that possibly she's obtained from somebody, and it's helped us. So we've looked at that and see if it's helped us. Any little lead will help us. But that's all I have. And again, I appreciate every one of you for being here. And I hope you guys go away. I know, can give you the information. I know there's a lot more questions you're going to have, but we are working on this.
And we appreciate everything all of you do.
Tom, do you have anything to add?
Just the only thing I have is that we appreciate the community's assistance, and anyone who has any information, don't disregard it as minor as you may think it is. It may be the one thing that leads us in the direction that we need. So please, anything that anyone knows, if they can get it to us, to the police department.
There's a real low spot, some people call it the swamp or whatever, right across from the parks there, across from Rose and that, down in that, and I just thought that was a good place to search, so I went the other day and went through that quite well. Walked even in through the animal trails and stuff and seen nothing that looked like disturbed ground or anything. You know, of course, we know that a lot of people camp out there and such, and they leave a lot of stuff, like you said, so, you know, that's normal. But, you know, myself, I did search that pretty good. I wouldn't tell anybody else not to again, but, you know, that's just something that could have been within walking distance, a place where somebody could have maybe felt bad, sat underneath the tree, or somebody tried to hide something, or so I look for that kind of stuff, and, you know, so that's one place I personally have checked quite well myself.
And also, when you're out there searching, please keep in mind and be careful. We still have a high transient ratio here in Quartzsite. People still are out there in that desert area, and you don't see BLM rangers out there quite often, do you? We're limited on going out there, and if you come across somebody that in the wrong way, you know, I sure hate something bad. That's why if you search, you do keep us informed. Keep in mind, monsoon season's coming up. It's next week, I think it starts. The official monsoon season this weekend. And from my understanding, it's supposed to be a nasty season. So please be careful. Please stay hydrated. I've caught myself getting heat stroke out there already. I'm going out there like this. So,
Oh, wow. And black is hot.
yeah. So
You guys need like
summer
a
uniform.
So again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, and I very much appreciate it. Boss, Javier, do you have anything?
Having dirty though, and it was hard to keep.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thank you.